Welcome to Mr. Biz Radio, biz talk for biz owners. If you're ready to stop faking the funk and take your business onward and upward, this show is for you. And now, here's Mr. Biz, Ken Wentworth.
All right, welcome to another episode of Mr. Biz Radio with me, Mr. Biz, Ken Wentworth. And this week we're going to talk to a gentleman who is known as the Equal Opportunity Critic, the EOC in charge, okay? I'm very much looking forward to this conversation. Our guest this week is Mr. Rodger Friedman. He is the author of the Amazon bestseller, Erasing America, Broken Politics, Broken Country. He's born and raised in New York City. He's a graduate of State University, son of a Times Square entrepreneur. I'm sure he's got a lot of stories about that. Rodger is the former senior vice president of Morgan Stanley Wealth Management, senior investment management consultant with Smith Barney, and a practicing chartered retirement planning counselor. Rodger and his wife Rena have been married for 34 years. Congratulations on that. They have two wonderful kids, and they live in Florida. We were talking about this right before we came on the air. Producer Alan and I are in Columbus. Weather's been good so far, but definitely not as nice as it is where Rodger's at. Rodger, welcome to Mr. Biz Radio.
Ken, thank you very much. And I got to say, I'm floored you called me a gentleman. I don't hear that often.
Well, I'm not sure how to take that. Hopefully that's a good thing. So we talked a little bit, I talked a little bit down during the intro about some of your background or whatever, but if you would kind of give us a bit about your career journey. Entrepreneur, obviously you've had some experience with that, especially Times Square. I can't even imagine some of the stories you have about that. So if you would walk us through some of that a little bit, Rodger.
Well, I grew up in Manhattan on the Lower East Side. If you think of Manhattan and you think of the Village and the United Nations, I was kind of smack right between the two. I could have walked to the Village or the UN or Times Square on my bicycle. And I was the youngest of three. My mom passed when I was about 12. So my dad always liked to keep an eye on me because for some strange reason, Ken, he thought I had behavior issues. Okay, looking back,
who would think that, Rodger?
I don't know. I don't know where he got that from. But in any event, he liked to keep an eye on me. So he had me hang out at his dry cleaning store at Times Square. And he kind of thought he'd put me to work. And I kind of thought that I really didn't want to work. So we kind of mashed heads a little.
A little bit.
But I got a ringside seat to entrepreneurship that I didn't expect. And I saw how my dad grew a laundry, dry cleaning, and drapery operation that he inherited from his parents when there was one employee and one washboard, okay? And he grew it into a fleet of trucks, 15, 20,000 square feet, 40 to 50 employees. So he had an operation going. And I used to see what he did and how he did it. And I took very, very careful notes because my dad was very, very successful at what he did. And I looked around and I said to myself, there's not more than 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 people out of every 100 that are successful. So they're obviously doing something that the others aren't. So I took notice.
So I have to ask Rodger, so this is my numbers nerd coming out here. You said 15, 20,000 square feet. I assume he didn't have all 20,000 square feet in Times Square, maybe the storefront there and maybe.
Oh, no, it was all at Times Square. So
holy crap.
You passed, it was right next to the Lyceum Theater on 45th Street. So when you pass by it, you look at the storefront, dry cleaning, laundry, there's the counter girl, the cash register. But he had a factory going all the way back with washing machines, dry cleaning machines, presses, all sorts of things. And he had an operation going on. He did laundry and dry cleaning for stores that didn't have their own machinery. And we also did all the costumes for many of the theaters in the theater district. We did the costumes for the Macy's Day Parade, so we had a whole lot going on, and he was a big operation, but it didn't appear that way from the front.
Well, and it had to be, because I can't even imagine what a storefront in Times Square area on 45th cost. I mean, I can't even imagine Because I presume when you said it was passed down, like, did he own it, or I assume he leased it?
Well, yeah, no, he leased it because
Okay.
when my grandparents had it, it was around the corner on 44th Street.
Okay.
And, they literally had 200 square feet. Okay. But, my dad was business minded. He was in the Army Air Force. And while he was there, he was a money man. He was in charge of payroll for a division, back on a huge air base that the U.S. Army Air Force shared with the British Air Force.
Okay.
And he learned a lot about money. Good thing he did.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine. Like I said, and I don't know the exact location, but I know pretty close because I used to work at JP Morgan. So I was up,
Okay.
off Park Avenue between 48th and 49th.
Okay, so I know the JP Morgan building. So
Yeah.
if you're in Times Square and you're looking at the Marriott Marquis, okay, and it's right in front of you, my dad's store was right behind you.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 It's crazy. Like I said, it's kind of a flashback. I haven't been at JP Morgan for, gosh, what, 9 years now? 9 years, I guess. But I took so many gosh darn trips up there. I've forgotten half of them, right? But
Right.
was in that area a lot, and going to different places for dinner and all that kind of stuff. So yeah,
Oh yeah.
I knew the area fairly well.
I'm sure there's a caricature of you on the wall at the Palm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's probably not very flattering, but nonetheless. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, knowing that area pretty well, and we'd have events, and we usually try to keep it so people could walk to
It's a
them. And all that
very
kind of
interesting place to grow up, I got to tell you.
I can't even imagine, because especially the first, 10 trips I made up there, of course, as a tourist, like, well, you got to go to Times Square. And I walk over there, and, as a kid from Ohio, I wasn't a kid at the time, right? But I walk over there and I'm like, holy crap, like, what
Right.
is this, another freaking world?
Right. I vividly remember I was in Times Square maybe a dozen years ago, and there was a fella who was playing the guitar, and he was naked.
Right. Naked
And
cowboy.
he had like a sign like, take pictures with me, $5.
Yeah. 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 I remember. Yeah. The naked cowboy. I know exactly what you're talking about. That guy's, I swear the guy lives there. Like
He's
seems
probably
like
a
every time
millionaire.
you go there, he's there. Like, and I'm sure it's his whole gig.
Of course.
I'm curious though. Now that you say that, Roger, I'm curious, like we were talking about the weather before we got started here. What's he do when it's like 20 degrees in New York?
He shrinks.
It was cold outside, George Costanza, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. But yeah, it had to be just like a fast forward, like MBA in entrepreneurship.
Yeah. But then I took a turn to the stupid. Okay. I went to SUNY, between Rochester and Buffalo, State University of New York.
Yeah.
And of all things, I majored in, not gender studies, political science, which was the first 4-year decision I have ever made in my life.
I can't even imagine. Guys, we're talking with Mr. Rodger Friedman this week. You can follow him. So he's known as the Equal Opportunity Critic, like I mentioned. He's got a YouTube channel. You can also find him on Facebook. We're going to come back after the break. We're going to talk about his book, Erasing America, Broken Politics and Broken Country. You can find that on Amazon as well. But we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about some of his hot takes later that he's got.
If you would like to reach hundreds of thousands of business owners every week, Mr. Biz Radio can help. Our show airs globally 7 days a week for more than 25 hours across several internet radio stations, plus 20 plus podcast platforms. Also, video exposure on the new exclusive Mr. Biz Network streaming channel, which gets blasted to 100 plus streaming platforms, and the Mr. Biz YouTube channel, and our 350,000 social media followers multiple times every week. Join Mr. Biz Nation as an advertiser by emailing us at info@MrBizSolutions.com.
Attention, Mr. Biz Nation. We have an exclusive offer just for you. Get lifetime access to scarcity countdown timers and logic links for only $69. Yes, you heard it right. Only $69. These tools will add urgency to your email campaigns and website pages, helping you increase conversions, sales, and capture more leads. Don't miss this incredible opportunity. Visit getpulsetools.com now and take your business to new heights.
Check out all 3 of Mr. Biz's best-selling books at MrBizBooks.com. Now, once again, here's Mr. Biz.
All right, welcome back to the show. Again, talking with Mr. Rodger Friedman here. Rodger, let's talk about the book, Erasing America, Broken Politics, Broken Country. Again, Amazon bestseller. Number one, to start, what prompted you to do that? So we didn't even really get into, I know after you got through your poli-sci major, obviously you worked in the financial world. Fast forwarding from that, what caused you to say, I think I got a book in here?
I had a sneaky suspicion you'd ask this question. So during COVID, I moved from Maryland to Florida. And, when I'd be outside having coffee on the deck, and it's beautiful out, and I'm thinking to myself, let me catch up with the news. So I was always very fond of reading the paper, although when I read the paper now, it's going to a website. So
right, yeah.
I'm scanning these websites and I'm seeing all these stories about very, very off the wall political issues that are going on, during, and in the heat of the Biden administration. And I'm looking at this, I'm like, holy crap, I don't believe this is happening. And long ago, I heard Ron White say something very famous. He said, I know I have the right to remain silent. I didn't have the ability.
That sounds like him. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking at some of these articles and I'm like, crap, I got to write that. I got to tell somebody about it. So I sent an email to my sisters, my cousins, a couple of colleagues, and it was a Sunday and I called it the Sunday Memo. And I made it one page and I'm like, did you see all this nonsense over the last week? And it got a very nice reception. And I said to myself, I'll do it again next Sunday. And I kept doing it and I kept doing it, and it became kind of a thing. And what occurred to me is that with all the nonsense going on politically, I couldn't keep it to one page, Ken. Turned out to be around 2,500 words, maybe 3,000 words a week.
Okay.
And the first 48 Sunday memos, that became my book, Erasing America.
Gotcha. Okay.
If you look at the index, the table of contents, they're not chapters, they're memos. Okay. So, matter of fact, this morning I was working on memo number 93. Okay. So I'm still at it. We moved to a better neighborhood. It's called the Equal Opportunity Times. Sunday memos gone with the wind.
Gotcha. So I got to ask you, so at what point during those 48 Sunday memos did it occur to you like, hey, I could put these together and it's
actually, it didn't occur to me because I was so entranced with creating a weekly read. And I've written but 7 books now, okay? Most of them on money. But my sister, Diane, called me up one day and said, you got the makings of a book here. And I thought about it. I'm like, shit, she's right. There's number 7.
Yeah. It was number 1 for me. Similar type situation.
So that's how it became a book.
Yeah, my first book was that way, and it was my brother.
Right.
I was accumulating. It was a very similar story to yours. And finally, my brother's like, I mean, this is basically a book. You got to put this together as a book. And I'm like, and I can't, unlike you, it sounds like, Rodger, I cannot stand to write. I hate writing. I'll do videos.
I love writing. I don't dictate it. I actually type, and my typing skills on a scale of 1 to 10 are a 1. Okay. But I still type. Okay.
Yeah. It's not me. So oh my gosh, I don't like writing. In my next 2 books, I figured out a way, thanks to a guy named Frank Kern, because he said, you do all this, all this speaking and thing, and how do you not like to write?
Just recorded. Yeah, I know Frank.
Yeah. So I recorded it and then had it transcribed, and then, we edited it down from there. But because I can get out and literally that's what I would do, like, especially with both the second and third books, is okay, today I'm recording a chapter on fill in the blank, and I'd have about 3 or 4 bullets, and I would just hit record and just start going at
Exactly.
it.
And Frank, in large part, was birthed by Dan Kennedy.
Yes,
Dan has been a
100%.
mentor of mine since 2013.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, I'm glad we've got Frank Kern in common, and yeah, Dan, he could not say enough good things about Dan Kennedy. Russell Brunson now has bought all of his old stuff, and definitely a lot of admirers for Dan Kennedy. So it's awesome you're able.
Yeah, and Frank has done fairly well. He has what I would call excess millions. There's just more than enough lying around.
Yeah. So he I don't want to give away too much. Maybe I shouldn't say it publicly. He can turn on the money spigot when he needs to. So
absolutely. That's a secret. Just you and me. We won't tell anyone.
Well, I mean, he is so good at what he does that when he has, let's call it an unexpected expense in his family, unexpected, let's just keep it at that. He's able to turn on the money spigot.
Oh, it's what Dan Kennedy taught him. Send the bill to the herd.
Right. And I mean, and the other thing that makes it, he's not a nefarious guy. He's not, I love Frank. He's not a shyster. He knows his shit, and he's really good. He over delivers like crazy. I've been part of his inner circle. And I don't mean that he turns on the money spigot like he's just some, used car salesman selling snake oil or some crap like that. He has so much content because he's been doing it for 20 plus years that he'll sell one of his courses that he did 6 years ago that's still, relevant and still really good content.
Absolutely.
Stuff like that.
I agree.
Yeah. He's a good guy. So anyway, back to the book. So you created this. Now you say you said you're working on number 93.
93. So I actually have book number 8.
Yeah.
Standing
I was gonna
by.
say. Is that what the plan is? Is it going to be like a volume 2?
As you're aware, no matter how you do it, birthing a book, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, okay. For sure.
Cost a couple dollars also. And, it just depends whether or not I feel like doing the work.
Gotcha. Are you thinking it's going to be like, if you do it, is it going to be a volume 2? Is it going to be kind of a different standalone type of thing?
No, it'd probably be, kind of a volume 2. And, obviously the position of the government has changed, particularly in the last month. Okay. So, I'm looking forward to more interesting things as you are. Yes.
Yeah. And that's what I'm looking forward to talking to you as well about. So as we were doing prep for the show, and I was out on Rodger's YouTube channel, which I definitely highly recommend. He's got a bunch of videos out there, and they're all relatively short. They're not like hour-long videos. Most of them are 3-4 minute long videos.
Exactly.
Where he's got a hot take on something that's like a hot button issue. And the approach I like that you have, Rodger, is that you're very factual, right? You're very opinionated. If I want to go hear someone's opinion, I don't want someone who's going to straddle the fence. Like that, that drives me insane. When you hear these talking heads, and you could tell that they're trying to straddle the fence, not so much politically, because if you go to Fox, it's going to be way over here. If you go to, CNBC or CNN or whatever, it's going to be way over there. But sports a lot. Like you got these people who they're afraid to piss off one side or the other. So
no, you know exactly where I stand on an issue.
Yeah, and I love that. So guys, we're going to come back. We're going to hit a break here. We're going to come back again. The Equal Opportunity Critic, Rodger Friedman. Check him out on YouTube and Facebook. And this give you a little bit of a tease what we're going to talk about. He's got 2 hot takes, and specifically I want to talk about Republicans. Are they physically demented? And what is the elephant at the border?
How would you like to have direct access to Mr. Biz to help you run your business more profitably and more efficiently? At MrBizSolutions.com, you get live access to not only Mr. Biz, but also several of his hand-picked and trusted business experts, each with 20 plus years of experience to help you optimally manage and grow your business. That's just the start of where Mr. Biz Solutions begins. Learn more at MrBizSolutions.com. That's MrBizSolutions.com.
Attention, Mr. Biz Nation. We have an exclusive offer just for you. Get lifetime access to scarcity countdown timers and logic links for only $69. Yes, you heard it right. Only $69. These tools will add urgency to your email campaigns and website pages, helping you increase conversions, sales, and capture more leads. Don't miss this incredible opportunity. Visit getpulsetools.com now and take your business to new heights.
Got a question for Mr. Biz you want answered on air? Email it to info@mrbizsolutions.com. Now, once again, here's Mr. Biz.
All right, welcome back to Mr. Biz Radio. Again, talking this week with Mr. Rodger Friedman. So, Rodger, I want to dive into this because like I said, I was doing some show prep the other day. I was out on your YouTube channel, and you have a video out there talking about, are Republicans fiscally demented? Now, not physically, fiscally, so financially, right? I got to break it down, Rodger, because as you know, some people, maybe my enunciation is not the greatest.
Well,
make sure they.
I've written extensively on, are Republicans fiscally demented? But let me take a little bit of a different way of looking at it. I want to pretend for a minute that you, Ken, are the Republican, okay? And you're being visited by your brother-in-law, who's not a Republican.
Okay.
Now, your
Which is
brother-in-law
kind of real life.
has just become a newly minted financial advisor, and he wants your business, okay? And he's going to make your business his business. So far, so good?
Yep.
Okay. So he says, tell me about your debt situation. And you say, well, my MasterCard and my Visa, they're totally out of control. I think I owe $19,000 on the Visa, and the MasterCard is, I don't know, $26,000. Do you know what interest rates are? Nah, I don't even know what the interest rates are. Okay, I get it. You gotta have some debt. Tell me about your house. Do you have a mortgage? Oh man, do I have a mortgage. I have barely any equity, and I had an ARM, and I think it's at 8.9% now. And there are eyes being rolled here, and you're looking at him and you're saying, well, do you think I'm fiscally demented? And he stops. And time stops. And then, like, Rod Sterling comes in from the outer limits and says, what the hell is going on here? Think of Capitol Hill, think of Republicans and Democrats, okay? And is it fiscally responsible to run up huge budget deficits, to never have a balanced budget, to have continuing resolutions every several months to keep the government going and kicking the can down the road, and having all these entitlements that cannot be paid for? Whether you're talking about $400 a night hotels in New York City for immigrants, free health care, free education. By the way, Ken, do you know that an illegal from Venezuela can go to Berkeley or USC cheaper than a kid from New Jersey?
Did not know that.
Yeah, it's insane. But the Democrats just keep spending money like they have a blank checkbook or a credit card with no limit. Now, I want you to know, I know about limits on credit cards. When I was 19, I had black hair and plenty of it. It was down to my shoulders. You think I'm lying? I'm not. Anyway, I had 4 credit cards, 2 Masters, 2 Visas, and I had a $700 credit limit on each. You think those banks really trusted me?
Not at all.
Okay, so I was $2,800 in debt in a month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it wasn't a pretty scene. Okay.
So you're spending money like a drunken sailor, it sounds like.
I was spending like a drunken sailor, and remember, those were the Carter years. You remember where interest rates were? Double digits, 16, 17, 18% on a credit card. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when the Speaker of the House, gets up with his Clark Kent glasses and says, we cannot afford this as a country, people are beginning to listen now, which is a breath of fresh air, because the deficit's now 36 trillion.
Yep, 36.
It's another trillion every 100 days.
Every 100 days, yeah. And I think
And it's frightening.
so, Rodger, I think that so many people, and we talked about this on a recent show, I think so many people in the United States, the number is so big, like people can't even fathom what $1 trillion
They can't put their head
is.
around it.
You hear $1 billion and you're like, man, that's a lot. Like most people go, that's a lot. Like they don't understand that $1 billion is 999 million plus $1 million, let alone what $1 trillion is, right? So it's so hard to wrap your mind around. And then when you talk about the interest that we're paying, just the interest, like you're talking about, every 100 days, it goes up another. Even if we don't, if we had a balanced budget, the interest alone is every 100 days, we're up another trillion. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Well, so great stuff there. So I want to talk about this. We only got about the 3.5 minutes or so left. Talk to me about the elephant at the border.
Well, I have looked at the Customs and Border Protection website until my eyes are ready to bleed. And the numbers that I would see between President Trump's 4 years in office and the 4 years in office of President Biden are startling. And, people have got to be able to understand when they see the number 10 million bandied around, I don't believe it. I think the number is closer to 20 million illegals. There are 58,000 criminals in New York City alone. Okay. And the point is that none of these people belong here. When they set foot in this country, they committed a felony. And what has the Biden administration done? They have welcomed them. They have given them food, shelter, education, health care, cell phones, and debit cards.
Right.
Okay.
Rodger, so real quick, this one will hit home for you because it way more than it did for me. One of the hotels that I would stay at often, so the Waldorf is right across the street from JP Morgan headquarters.
That's correct.
So sometimes I would stay there because we had a block of discounted rooms. If they were all taken, oftentimes I would end up at the Roosevelt.
The Roosevelt. I knew you were going to say that.
And now look what the hell is going on with the Roosevelt now. I just read an article about it. I was blown away.
Yeah, I saw a video about that the other day, and I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, that iconic hotel.
Yes.
And imagine now imagine if I started working at JP Morgan again, and I don't think you can even book a room at the hotel anymore. But I walked over like, oh, I used to stay here all the time, and I go over to the Roosevelt. I can't even imagine what it's like now.
No, and recently my sister wanted to go to New York City just to visit, take in some shows. She said, I canceled it. We couldn't get a room. That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and to your point about, talking about the border specifically, I did a show after the Biden-Trump debate, and I did a kind of a post-debate kind of reaction show.
Right.
And I was kind of fact-checking both of them, frankly. But, under Trump, the highest it ever got was 420, according to the Border Patrol website, was 420,000 in a year.
Yeah.
And it was averaging almost 2.4, 2.5 per Border Patrol per year under the Biden administration. I mean, not even freaking close, right? I mean, like you're talking about.
The numbers were insane, and they were doing nothing to stop them. And then they say, oh, the numbers are lower now. That's because they have them going in on an app, and all they're doing is deciding not to count these people.
Well, and here's the other thing, Rodger. Even aside from that, I agree with that, but the numbers are lower now. Yeah, because you're letting in 2.5 million. So now you're only letting in 1.5 million. Well, geez, we cut out 1 million. No, that's a lot lower.
And I got to tell you, Ken, I wrote about this extensively in Erasing America, Broken Politics, Broken Country. You could see it on my website, eocritic.com, short for Equal Opportunity Critic. And of course, it's on Amazon, which I think is the last bookstore left in the galaxy.
I think so.
Okay. Yeah. There may be a Barnes & Noble somewhere. I haven't been able to find it.
Right. So, Rodger, look, we're out of time here. I so much appreciate, guys. This is just the taste of what's in his book. Again, Erasing America, Broken Politics, Broken Country. Rodger, thanks so much for coming on the show.
You're very welcome. Thank you, and have a great day.
Yeah, awesome. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a fantastic rest of your week. And don't forget, as always, cash flow is king.
To become part of Mr. Biz Nation, follow him on all social media platforms or never miss a show by going to MrBizRadio.com. If you prefer free video content, visit the Mr. Biz YouTube channel or check out his streaming channel, which is available on 100 plus streaming platforms at MrBizNetwork.com.